As they say, finance is not just about numbers, it's also about clarity and direction. Hello everyone, this is your host Shefta Khan and you're watching another episode of Story Makers. Today we are joined by two leaders who are redefining how businesses look at finance in India. First, we have Mr. Sirish Korada, founder and CEO of BINDZ, a Bangalore-based financial consultancy that's simplifying finance and turning it into a pivotal growth. Alongside, we have with us Mr. Maninder Singh, the COO of BINDZ, the man ensuring operational excellence and scaling systems of flawless execution. Together, they are building a future where finance is not just a back-end function, but a strategic advantage for businesses. Let's dive into this conversation and take this ahead. Hello, everyone.
Hi, Shefta.
How are you?
Good, and thank you for the opportunity. It's an absolute pleasure and honor to be here with you.
Yeah. So, Mr. Sirish, as the CEO of BINDZ, can you share your journey from setting up offshore operations to global banks of founding BINDZ Consulting?
Sure. My journey would not, I would say it's not linear. I would define my journey as rolling the dice. I started my first job in Australia as a data analyst. Spent 20 years from then across geographies in consulting and financial services, and worked my way upwards and forwards towards having global leadership roles to founding BINDZ Consulting. During the journey, I obviously had a little bit of a midlife crisis and wanted to find out what is my value, what is my vision, which kind of got me to becoming an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I started my first entrepreneurial journey 3 years ago and followed it up with another firm called BINDZ about a year ago. So things are going good, but that's a little brief about my journey as such.
Yeah. Would you mind sharing those midlife crises? We all would like to hear, Mr. Sirish.
Sure. I mean, I think everybody goes through a point of time where you've been part of the corporate rat race.
Yes.
And you're thinking, what is next for me?
Rat race is the word, I get it.
So, I've had quite senior positions, in multiple geographies and multiple investment banks. And I've seen the world a little bit, but it comes down to, what is my mission, my purpose in life? And I was going through that in my, over a few years, and I was like, what do I do, right? And I think my calling was towards giving back to my community and giving back to my people, and how could I best do that? And I thought the best way for me to contribute to society is by creating jobs, because in India, a job can actually have such a great impact on an individual's family and prosperity. So that is my mission and purpose at the moment.
Yeah. All right. So, Mr. Maninder Singh, as the COO of BINDZ, what inspired you to enter this space?
Okay. First of all, thank you so much for your time, and it's an opportunity, Shefti, to be here and talk to you. See, as Sirish said, I think there was a vision. Obviously, he started the enterprise, but we knew each other for some time, and that vision kind of, I was aligned to it. I've also had pretty much similar journey of working with, big foreign firms into multiple different industries, be it financial services, investment banking and technology. I think it was a very big opportunity, obviously in terms of giving back to the community and to our people, which is definitely there. But if you look at the Indian, services ecosystem, specifically the GCCs, there is a massive opportunity is what we realized. And the experiences that we carry of all of these different domains in different industry, I think for me, it was a big opportunity for me to implement and leverage the learnings that we had, obviously giving back to the community and to the people, but how we can scale this unique industry which we are into, which has a massive potential and have been looked at only by a few gigantic firms and not much focus from the administration. I think that opportunity was a big calling for me to be part of this journey, and trust me, I'm loving it so far.
All right. What have been your biggest leadership lessons while scaling your respective organizations one by one? We start with you, Mr. Sirish.
Sure. I think, the entrepreneurial journey, creating BINDZ, everybody thinks, it's capital, it's technology, it's about infrastructure, it's about clientele. But actually, what it was for us? It was convincing people and employees that there is alternative career paths out there. We are sucked into this vacuum and belief system that there is only one way of doing it. Right? So to convince the Gen Y and Gen Z of this world to say there are alternative career paths, there is a great opportunity for you to actually create more exposure, more confidence with a diverse skills and capabilities that we would train you on. So I think that whilst we were making and creating our brand, that was one of the biggest obstacles. Now, I obviously can relate to it, and so can Maninder, because we've gone through that journey ourselves. So, where, we've always had to kind of figure out what is the pros and cons of this versus that. So, because, a lot of people in the world go through, like a midlife crisis, they actually go through a middle management trap. Meaning you get to a stage and you don't know how to kind of unravel that. How do you get out of that? So our mission and vision, obviously, to uplift people and communities starts from educating them. And before you give the opportunity, you have to educate them about the choices. And I think that process was hard. But as we grew in scale and size, and the brand started building, it started getting easier.
True. It all takes time.
It takes time.
Do you have to add something to it?
Well, absolutely, and probably my answer would also reflect upon our culture of flexibility and openness to different thoughts. While I completely agree with uplifting people and then giving them that opportunity and supporting them. My lessons and the learnings have been that for you to grow an organization as an entrepreneur and to take it to much bigger levels, I think there is a very important variable of implementing systems and processes.
Okay.
The structure of the organization.
It's very important.
Right? So, and how it enables people who we are trying to scale up and train and obviously make sure that they are constantly growing is give them a structure so that they can achieve more with less. And so does the organization achieves much more with systems and processes in defined direction, obviously with continuous learning and upliftment of people, is that you're able to multifold your growth, multiply your growth. So I think those are the two different variables I think we've talked about in terms of people and system, which are very important, at least have been very important in our journeys.
So, Mr. Maninder, my question to you is from your perspective, what makes BINDZ Consulting a unique partner in India's GCC ecosystem?
Well, absolutely. That's a great question. So I'll take a minute of talking about the GCC's ecosystem in India. Okay. I think we already know that, India is the biggest place for GCCs globally. We already have 1,600 plus GCCs in India employing more than 2 million people directly, many more indirectly. I think we are at a stage where this is going to literally expand in terms of companies coming over and leveraging the capabilities here. But how there is a slight variable to that, which is majority of the big firms have already entered. The change in the paradigm has to be through the mid-size and the small-size organization who's going to come over. I think where we are unique in this entire ecosystem is our model. So we operate GCCs or GCC as a service in a build, operate, transfer model, where we help companies set up their offshoring business from India. And typically what has been happening is, the large firms actually come over, they set up the business themselves, they bring their, leadership. What we are trying to do is, we've been in the industry for 2 decades individually, and we've done it for multiple organizations. So what we are saying is you don't have to do that much of expenditure and investment upfront. We will do this for you in our build, operate, transfer model. We will establish the organization, the legal entity. We will establish all the functions that are required to run an organization. Most importantly, we will also establish your core businesses, be it technology, be it financial services, be it any sort of core deliveries, and we will run it. We'll take the accountability, we'll take if there is any impact negatively, and we'll make sure that your business is smoothly running. And at some point in future, which is the transfer part of the model, is we will hand over, or you have the right to acquire the company and then run it the way you want, which is like we take away the entire risk from you. We own the risk. We manage the deliveries. We do the capital investment to a larger extent. and then you have a fully operational and smoothly running organization. When you take over, it's literally plug and play for you. So
Wow.
that's a unique proposition BINDZ has come up with.
That's like baking a cake for them.
For them.
Even after taking all the accountability, and even after years, if they come up and say, okay, we want to take this back, you all are agreeing to the terms and conditions.
And which
Mr.
is
Maninder.
pre-agreed. So the terms and condition to transfer is already pre-agreed. So there is no dilemma or friction of how do we transfer. It's already pre-decided.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, Shifta,
Yes.
when you do services business, it's always about a transaction. You pay an amount to receive a service. So it's always transactional.
Yes.
But what if I change the equation? What if I stop saying it's transactional, but you create value as you go along the journey?
Yes.
Because the company that we're creating for them is creating value from day one. So we're giving you the arbitrage from day one, but slowly creating value. So when they acquire it, it's not something that doesn't have value. The value is already locked in and pre-agreed. So this way, we're taking the whole mindset away from just transactional behavior to a value-based behavior. I think what this will do is allow a lot of more entrepreneurship and risk-taking for this to happen. And as a result, you're attracting a wider client base. You're not only attracting the Fortune 500s of the world, but what about the next 2,000 companies out there, right? So greater the client base, greater the opportunities, and more jobs we can create.
Very, very interesting. In fact, you also mentioned something about culture, and rightly you said values. How do you align your terms and cultures when collaborating across geographies and growth?
Culture is a very interesting word for us, right? If you think about our organization, and we're not a very bricks and mortar organization. What is core to our business? It's our people. My biggest asset, and that's the right word. My biggest asset is my people, right? So I don't need to go and make slogans and put slogans out there saying I'm all about my people, because my asset is my people. So, and as I said earlier, I've been in the corporate rat race for a long time, and
For more than 20 years.
Exactly. And I've seen enough of things I liked and things that I thought could be done differently. So my whole vision of setting up the organization is I didn't want the wrongs that I have seen to be faced with Gen Y and Gen Z. How do you democratize an organization by creating an organization that is by the people, for the people? For example, and when I say this, I'll give you an example. Our benefits policies, right, are not designed by HR organization or an HR department. We actually talk to our people and we ask them to vote on what benefits they would like.
Wow.
And that is what we go ahead and do. Because what is the point of me giving you 5 things that you do not use? I rather ask you.
Yeah, what do you prefer? Off the topic, I would rather ask you, what do they ask as a benefit? As an organization, if somebody is asking benefits, I want. As an organization, what benefits do you give to them?
See, I think this is very unique, first of all, in the industry, because I don't know any other company who does that. But if you understand the type of employee base we have, it's very young, folks, ranges from 25 to 35 years
like
of
Sir said, Gen Zs.
Gen Zs, right? Having said this, all of them have different needs. So we've had a suggestion coming in that if you can take care of my health and fitness, can you sponsor me a gym membership?
Oh, interesting.
Right. And by the way, we've done that for our people. So yeah, we've had mothers returning from maternity, and they're like, one of the problem that we face is we want to be closer to our kids, right? And that's something that we are working on to make sure that they can either bring in or have a facility close by, so that it's easy for the returning mothers to go back, whether they are, that's there. The kind of industry we are into, we have months, say 6 months in a year, which is our peak season, which is massive volumes in business. A lot of these Gen Z's youngsters, they stay away from families. And one of the problem we heard from them is, see, we're staying in the office while we are trying to finish up our work, and it gets late, and it gets difficult for us to either order in food or cook. Can you do something? And we started the meal service in the office. So it's like we want them to feel at home, and then anything that we can take care of, we're happy to do it. Obviously, goes without saying, it's a organization. An organization has limited resources, but what we try and do is optimize the resources so that the impact is much higher.
Maninder, we would rightly say that it works both ways, right? If people are working for the organization, and if organization is not working for the people back again, it doesn't work. They will leave the organization, and like sir mentioned, it's the asset. People are the asset, and you also mentioned half an hour ago that you want to sustain those assets. Yes.
Right. See, it's very important. I mean, you're getting the best talent in the industry.
And it's not very easy to get them.
One, it is not very easy to get, but it's very critical for the success of the organization. I think it's a moral responsibility of the organization to make sure their employees are satisfied, not just in terms of the environment, also in terms of the work, which we also do, by the way. And Sirish, you might want to talk about the the difference that we've created in this industry in terms of the skill set. But it's very, very important for an organization to retain that talent, right? Because otherwise you are in the same race again and again of identifying, and
it's not very easy to retain those
so it's not very easy. I mean, it's a moral responsibility of the organization to make sure that their employees are happy and you retain them, because it's not very easy to keep doing the same loop, hiring and training and all of that. So I think it's important.
I mean, I agree to everything you guys have been talking about and what Maninder has been saying, but I'd like to put it this way. If you treat people like people, then it becomes a family.
Wow.
Right? And I believe in a concept of servant leadership. So the servant leadership concept is, what is my job as a CEO? My job as a CEO is to serve my people. Not for them to service their leadership and then some manager, and then that manager services somebody senior to them. If we flip the organizational pyramid around, right, and say our jobs as leaders is basically to service our people and treat them as people. I think that step has to be taken, and that step has to be very, very apparent and clear, and should be the organizational philosophy. If you do that, then you can make small little steps towards making it sound, act, behave like an ecosystem or a family, right? And I think that will help from a retention. Like, our retention has been amazing this year, right? We've hardly had much attrition, and I think a lot of that is basically on how we treat each other, right? And like any family, we will have agreements and disagreements, but having the opportunity to voice them without fear or prejudice, I think, is critical. So that is something that we have developed into our culture. And I'm a classical non-believer in an organizational pyramid which is about 20 levels and 50 levels wide and all that. So I like to keep it simple. I like organizations to be simple.
Keep it equal for all of them.
And equality comes in with, it's not just the diversity, but equality as well. We obviously talk a lot about diversity these days, right? And inclusivity. But I think there is an equality word in there as well.
And just to add one point there, we actually preach the practice of growing people in the organization. So unlike a lot of organizations there who say you spend enough time in the company for you to grow and to take up different positions and roles, we say if you prove and you have the skill, tenure is not the deterrent. So we've actually have examples in the organization where somebody has taken up bigger roles in just few months of their stint with the organization. Yes.
Yeah, it all defines with talent.
Correct. So I think talent is the word. If you have the talent, you have the skill, everything else we'll take care of.
I think the true success of a company is measured by its growth of people.
Exactly.
Yes. Well said. For you, Mr. Maninder, my question is, what growth milestones are you most proud of in your journey, and what challenges have you overcome so far?
Okay. I think I will start with the challenge, because the concept that obviously Sirish was trying to, get the clients comfortable with of doing GCC as a service. obviously it's a new concept that we're trying to do, or we've done it with this client. That was a big challenge actually for us initially, but obviously once we were able to sign up the client, it's a journey that now the numbers talk about. In terms of the milestones, I think we are one of the fastest growing GCC, especially the model that we are into. We did our first 100 employees in about less than a year, about 8-9 months in the business.
Wow. Yep. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. We will probably by end of the second year, we'll have about 300 plus people, 2 locations in India in about a year's time. But if I talk about purely numbers, being a finance guy, we'll be crossing 100 crore mark in less than 2 years' time. In just 1.5 years of our business, we'll be crossing 100 crore revenue. I think those milestones are great. But I think what's also important, and that kind of goes back to the model that we are trying to promote here, is we were profitable organization within few months of our existence. So we were able to break even and recover our investment, and we were profitable in the initial months itself. I think those are the big milestones. And yeah, I think the journey has been great.
Yeah, I would like again to say many more congratulations to you, because because it is something that nobody really gets access to, and you guys are really working hard, and all coming from an experience of 20 years and 2 decades, like you rightly mentioned. But for young Gen Zs in your companies that you have, and for other companies and professionals and organizations, what advice would you like to give looking to make an impact in consulting and offshoring, Mr. Sirish, for you?
I think I'd say, and this is probably more reflecting on my own journey, that could be applicable to the entrepreneurs or the budding entrepreneurs going forward, is be very clear in terms of what is the problem statement you're trying to solve. Right? Every entrepreneurial dream is trying to solve a problem. So be very clear about that and be extremely stubborn about it.
Yeah.
True.
And learn to have a much thicker skin, because you are going to fail, and you're going to fail repeatedly. But what you've got to learn is, by failing repeatedly and failing fast, you are going to learn the most important lessons that are going to be the pillars or the stepping stones to success. Everybody hears the word failure and they go negative about it.
Not at all. It should not be like that way. Yeah. Every time you fail, you learn.
Exactly. But if I keep failing for years together, so make aggressive, ambitious, bold decisions so that you test the waters out as soon as possible. Adapt so you fail fast. And the quicker you fail and the faster you fail, the more you'll gain from it. That's what we've kind of done. And that's, I would say, if I had to give one piece of advice
to Gen Zs,
fail and fail fast.
I think that's very important. You have to take the plunge, because if you're not taking the plunge,
how would you know?
You can't swim unless you actually jump in the water. So that's rightly said. And failures actually are a guarantee to success. So if you're constantly failing, but you rightly said fail fast. I would just add to this is another point which is very important is relationships as an entrepreneur. It's maybe underspoken, looked at, but it's very important to build your relationships in the industry, in the ecosystem with your employees, and then have very honest relationships with them, because that is going to help you. So, we've heard this, hey, this is a single, self-made man or a self-made company, or there's nobody who's self-made. There are people and the ecosystem at every point in the life who contributes to the success and the growth. And it's very important for an entrepreneur to actually have those good relationships and cherish them over a period of time. Obviously, in addition to taking a plunge and taking those risks, which is important. So I think that's my advice, to build those strong relationships.
Yeah, I think there's a very common term that Gen Zs use, is the toxic environment in an organization. How do you both deal with it?
Again, I think it comes from the leadership, right? So for me, if a culture is toxic, you can go, you can say 100 things about why, but the direction, the clarity, and the actions and the behaviors need to start from the top, because people lead, and certain people follow. So
Wonderful.
if leaders set the right examples,
Yes.
right, and roll up their sleeves and stand for the principles that they want their employees to stand,
Employees to work on, right?
and not just say that, but be absolutely visible doing it, right? So that there is no misunderstanding or lack of clarity. I think it has to start from the top.
I have a slight different perspective there. I don't feel that the organization, especially for the people who run the companies, want to have a toxic environment. Obviously, the culture of an organization could
Depends
be different,
from organization
but
to organization.
the cultures are different, environments are different. That's agreed. But I don't think, from a leadership perspective, any leader would want the organization to have. I think it's also to do with you as an individual. How do you adapt? How do you contribute? And how do you get involved if there is something which is so-called negative or toxic? I think you are the only one who's contributing to it and then getting the return for it. So I believe it's important for you as an individual to decide what works for you and then probably focus on yourself and the organization goals. I think the environments, and especially the toxic environment, would be easily taken care of.
Yeah, but and I completely agree. There are some things you can control and some things you can't, right? But I mean, it comes back to our mission, vision, and our value proposition and our value statement and who we stand for. I take a greater moral responsibility to do and fix and educate. I obviously expect an individual to absorb it, but I have a greater moral responsibility.
True.
And I think it's those intangibles or that greater moral responsibility that really move the dial.
And see, the culture or the environment is built on the value systems, right? If the value system of the organization maybe say doesn't align with you, then it doesn't it doesn't make sense for you. So it would never work out. And I think it's better for the individual to find a place which, at least from a value perspective, aligns.
Yes. 100%.
We could talk on this topic for
It's
hours.
okay, we can just skip. Yeah. So I can see that going. Moving forward, Mr. Maninder, looking ahead, what is your vision for BINDZ Consulting over the next, say, 5 years?
I think it's a group goal. It's not just my vision, you know.
So Sirish can add to it.
I mean, obviously, we've started this company to grow and to take this globally. You know, the mission was to obviously support our clients, CBIZ, and set up their GCC in India, and at a point where they feel good about it and are able to do the transition, the transfer, and running the GCC. That's definitely our short-term objective. But yeah, we want to take this model beyond this client and have multiple binds. But I think from a vision perspective globally, Sirish should add to that.
You know, I believe that the world is one. It's a global family. And if we're about creating opportunities for people across, you know, we should do it globally. So I want to take BINDZ from national to global. We would like to be in multiple geographies, creating these fantastic opportunities. We've got a few centers already in India, in Bangalore and Hyderabad. I really want to take this to the tier 2 towns, because you know what, that's where the real jobs are required.
Great goal.
And also breadth, right? We're doing a couple of things right now. We'd like to provide services across a number of things, like advisory, like technology, like audit, and a number of other product lines like that. So I think we have an opportunity to grow broad and deep, right? And be positioned well across geographies and continents, so that we can do the greater good. I think that's where I'd like to kind of position the firm. You know, we talk about numbers, but you know, there's things beyond numbers, right? Obviously, we want to make money, we want to be very successful, we want to have, you know, thousands of employees working. But what I think keeps me up at night and keeps me going is, how do I do this while creating a sustainable workforce, a sustainable culture, right, for people, and we stay true to our values.
If worked this way, success is immeasurable.
And inevitable.
Inevitable, 100%.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
All of us. So my question to both of you individually is, if you weren't leading your current companies, what else would you be doing? Mr. Maninder first.
Well, I couldn't be a sportsman, so I'm here running the organization, and I'm very much happy with it. But let's say if this was also not happening, I would probably get into some sort of art stream because I like that, and music is something that I do as a hobby. So potentially that would have been the area I would have explored as professionally as well.
Can we expect 2 lines from you?
I have to think about the song.
Let's do it.
दिल संभल जा जरा फिर मोहब्बत करने चला है तू दिल यहीं रुक जा जरा फिर मोहब्बत करने चला है तू.
Beautiful, beautiful. Let's have a big round of applause for Mr. Maninder.
Thank you.
What about you, Mr.
I'm
Singh?
definitely not a singer. Okay, but
Okay, we shall skip that.
yeah, but like if I wasn't doing this, I'm very passionate about education, and badminton has been very close to me, and I'm very I love the game. So if this didn't work out, I'd probably go to coaching kids for badminton and create the future of badminton stars.
But you can still do that as your retirement job.
Still got a few years before